Hi, this is Rick Long with Egypt and Wonder, and today I am wondering why it seems that a single pair of ordinary sandals appears to be being shared by two very distinctive individuals. On the back of Tutankhamun's throne, which is on display in the Grand Egyptian Museum just outside of Cairo. This is one of the most famous objects in the world. Millions of people recognize it instantly. It appears in textbooks, documentaries, posters, museum gift shops. Because it's so familiar, we often assume that we already know it. But there's something important that happens when an object becomes iconic. Familiarity can trick us into thinking that we've already seen it. When something appears everywhere, we stop encountering with it and we start recognizing it instead. But ancient Egyptian artists weren't creating images for recognition. They were creating experiences. They assumed that their audiences would spend time. They assumed return visits. They assumed a visitor who would look once and then look again. Ancient Egyptian objects often ask something of us. You see, they ask us to slow down, to linger, to notice, to accept that meaning might not arrive all at once. That idea alone feels almost radical today. You see, we live in the world designed for speed, scrolling, skimming, consuming. But ancient Egyptian art moves at simply a different pace. It asks us to slow our bodies down before it will give us its meaning. And in that way, the effort required isn't a flaw, it's actually the point. At first glance, the scene on the back of Tutankhamun's throne feels immediately readable. The young king sits comfortably, his wife, Akhsenamun, stands before him. She gently anoints him with her perfumed oil. It's tender, it's intimate, balanced. It's a moment of care, frozen in time. But ancient Egyptian art quietly shifts gears here because, well, the most important details are often not where we expect them to be. This is something that museums don't always tell us. The most important details are often placed where casual viewers just simply don't notice. Not because they're hiding secrets, but because meaning was meant to be earned. Ancient artists trusted their audience. They believed attention was a form of respect. And this is where the real treasure begins to reveal itself. If you let your eye drift downward, just toward their feet, something subtle, something beautiful happens. The sandals, it becomes clear that they are being shared. Not clearly separated, not individualized, but visually united. This isn't decorative accident. Ancient Egyptian artists were deliberate to the point of obsession. If something appears this way, it's because it was meant to be seen eventually. These objects were not designed to give up their meaning quickly. They reward our effort. They assume our attention. They expect participation from the viewer. It's tempting when we notice a detail like this to immediately ask what it means on our terms. But ancient Egyptians weren't speaking to us. They were speaking to eternity. Their symbols weren't designed to explain themselves. They were designed to endure. And endurance requires simplicity, restraint, and clarity of purpose. In ancient Egypt, sandals symbolized movement, authority, and the right to walk the land and the afterlife with purpose. To visually share them suggests nothing but unity, alignment, two people moving forward together, not just emotionally, but symbolically, bound by role, responsibility, and continuity. The treasure here isn't dramatic. There's no sudden revelation, no hidden chamber to open, no cinematic twist. Instead, you see there's something quieter. It's an invitation to practice attention. The treasure here doesn't sparkle the way gold does. It lives in meaning, in context. And meaning, context, requires participation. When we rush through museums, when we skim past history, we often miss the very things that ancient artists worked the hardest to communicate to us. Shakespeare, Van Gogh, Mozart, so many others, they all ask us to meet them halfway, to look again, and then look again once more. They give more to those willing to slow down. I think that sometimes the greatest treasures in ancient Egypt aren't hidden underground. They're hidden in plain sight. Hey, thanks for spending a moment wondering with me. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. It helps me grow my channel. I'm Rick Long, and I'm still wondering. I hope you are too.